We are going to travel back in time for a second to English 1010 to talk about thesis statements, but we're also going to do so in light of your new research-based argument and paper that you're writing. So it's important to remember that your thesis statement is one of the most important components of your essay because it's going to present your main idea or your main argument. So often this comes at the introductory paragraph, sometimes at the end of the intro paragraph or paragraphs, but it's not always the case. I mean, sometimes it could come at the end. So you should always consider your rhetorical situation and any assignment guidelines when you're thinking about including a thesis statement in your paper. These are really important though because it's going to first of all help your reader understand how to interpret your paper's significance, and if it becomes a beginning, it's going to serve as sort of a signpost for your essay to show where your paper is headed. And most importantly though, it's going to show your unique perspective on the topic and also offer your argument or claim about whatever it is you're writing about. So once you have gotten this going, you're going to have a working thesis statement. Just remember, it's not going to be perfect the first time you write it. You should always just start with some kind of general idea, and then you can hone it and shape it as you go. There are typically two types of thesis statements, blueprint and umbrella. So blueprint you may be familiar with from middle school and high school, maybe when you were writing a 5-paragraph essay. And the blueprint thesis lists specifically what is going to be discussed in each paragraph of your paper. So this would typically look something like this. Running is important because A, B, and C, where A would be body paragraph 1, B, body paragraph 2, and C, paragraph 3. So this is sometimes appropriate, but you may find it extremely limiting, especially when you're writing a longer paper. Imagine writing a 10-page paper about running, and your blueprint thesis would look like running is important because A, B, C, and D, and E, and F, and G, and H. Sometimes though, A, B, and C could be sort of broad categories, and there's several paragraphs that are incorporated under those categories. That's kind of a way to transfer the blueprint thesis into more of a college level writing. Now, remember, there's also the umbrella thesis, and this is a way to write your thesis without having to list all of those individual components that you're going to write about in the body. So this may be something like, people who are interested in starting an exercise program should consider running because of the instant health benefits, both physical and mental. So I know that that's what I'm arguing, that running is a way to get instant health benefits. And all of my body paragraphs, no matter how many they may be, 3, 7, 15, they're all going to support that main idea. So let's take a look then at a thesis progression just for some examples here. So maybe you start with a research question or a general question that you're trying to answer, and you shape that into a statement. That's a working thesis statement. This is a great working thesis statement. It says parents should regulate the amount of television their children watch. So this lets my reader know I'm going to be talking about regulating television. It shows my position that I do think that it should be regulated. This is great. I could absolutely work with this. We could add to it though. Maybe I add a concession. So maybe I know my audience are people that believe that, there's too much helicopter parenting going on and that it can be educational, so we need to chill out. So maybe I acknowledge that in my thesis. Maybe I say, even though television can be educational, parents should regulate the amount of television their children watch. Okay, I can work with that. I could also give those reasons. So this is sort of a blueprint incorporation. So I say parents should regulate the amount of television their children watch because it shortens children's attention spans, it inhibits social interaction, and it isn't always intellectually stimulating. So I could develop all of those points into maybe multiple paragraphs that support that. I could even combine these two together. So as you can see, all of these argue the same thing, but they are said in different ways, so that you can figure out the best way to do that. Now, on top of this, you can do this also, you can write this, and this is what we're going to do this week. You're going to rewrite your thesis multiple times. So I always say that your first way that you write it is a great working thesis, but as you shape it, you can phrase it in different ways. You can consider your writing, your sentence variety, and shape this up stylistically and even get more specific as you write. So here's an example of changing this. So I take that first one and I say, because technology is pervasive in today's world, so I'm recognizing how there's a problem. Parents must be careful about limiting the amount of television in a child's life because it can have many negative consequences. Okay, it still says the same thing as the first one, but gives a little more details and says it differently. Or maybe I say this: parents may not be able to completely remove children from this technological world, but they should be vigilant about limiting the television their small children watch to prevent harmful consequences. If you look, the second one and the third one, they say the same thing, but I say it in different ways. So this means that as you write, you will hone your thesis statement. You'll try to say it in different ways so that you have the best main point you can present to your reader. So that's what you're going to be doing for your Writing to Learn this week, is honing and shaping your thesis statement.